Another major NASCAR silly season domino has fallen as Cole Custer will join the Cup Series once again in 2025 and join the Haas factory team. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, another major NASCAR silly season domino has fallen as it was just announced a few minutes ago that Cole Custer will be driving the number 41 car for the Haas factory team in the NASCAR Cup Series starting in 2025. It was not announced today whether or not it's a multi-year deal, it's just a one-year deal, but Cole Custer will drive the 41 car once again in 2025. It was also announced today that Haas factory team will have an RFK Alliance also in 2025. This is absolutely huge for Cole Custer. There's been rumors and rumblings that Cole Custer more than likely was going to be moving back up to the Cup Series in 2025. You look at the success he's had so far in the 2024 season in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He just won the most recent NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Pocono. He's currently the points leader by 51 points over Justin Allgaier, and more than likely he's going to win the regular season championship in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And you have to go back to last year as well. Cole Custer won 3 races last year and won the championship. Now, obviously, they did say during the press conference today that they were looking at other drivers. I guarantee Ryan Preece, one of the options that they were looking at for the 41 car or the 00 cars, we are wondering if it was going to be the 00 or the 41 car, but they chose the 41 car because Gene wanted to keep that number. But I think Ryan Preece would have been a solid option, but Cole Custer also makes a lot of sense. And I think he's earned a second chance. Yes, I know some people would not agree with me, and that's fine and understandable, but I think Cole Custer's earned a second chance and opportunity. And I certainly think that he is going to do a very solid job. And the big thing for me is that they are going to have a technical alliance with RFK Racing. RFK has had a lot of success in the last year or so. Brad Keselowski won at Darlington earlier this year. Chris Busch was a playoff contender, and we've seen some major improved performance from Justin Haley this year at the number 51 car. He's had top 10 cars in multiple races, and has had a top 15, top 20 car a majority of races this season. So you're seeing the RFK Alliance grow. Now, what are my realistic expectations for this organization going into next year in the Cup Series? We're going to talk about the Xfinity Series program here in just a second. Well, I think Cole Custer is actually going to do a solid job next year. If they didn't have an alliance with RFK Racing, I actually think this team would probably be running in the back of the pack most weeks. And I still think at the beginning there are going to be some growing pains for this team. But by the end of this year, I think Cole Custer is going to rack off a couple top 10s, and he's also going to get a couple top 15s and 20s. Realistically, I think they're going to finish around 25th to 30th in the standings. I think they're going to finish in the bottom half of the standings, even though they are going to have an alliance with RFK. I still think it's going to be certain struggles for sure for the organization as they get their footing. But a lot of people that are part of that 41 team are expected to stick around with the 41 team for next season. Also, the other big thing is that they're going to be staying in the SHR shop going into next year, and we know that they're going to have 2 Xfinity Series cars going into 2025. So now the other big question surrounds what happens to Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece was a driver of the 41 car. We already know a couple other SHR drivers have found rides for 2025. Chase Briscoe is going to be driving the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Josh Berry is going to be driving a 21 car for the Wood Brothers. And we also know that Noah Gragson is going to be joining Front Row Motorsports, but the team has not announced what number he's going to be running for next year. So what happens to Ryan Preece? Well, Ryan Preece could stay in the Cup Series next year, but there aren't a lot of options. Maybe leaves Ford altogether and goes over to Cog Racing. That could certainly be an option next year. Or maybe he goes to Rick Ware Racing and drives full-time for the team. He doesn't have a lot of funding, though, and I think Rick Ware Racing is going to be looking for someone who brings a little sponsorship and funding with them. So I don't think Ryan Preece would end up there. I think he actually might end up with the Haas factory team in the Xfinity Series next year. I do know that he has a Kevin Harvick Incorporated alliance, and he does have a little bit of sponsorship, and we do know that Gene really likes Ryan Preece a lot. There's a big reason why Ryan Preece got the chance and opportunity to drive the 41 in the first place. If he moves down and drives either the 98 car or the 00 car for next year, I think Ryan Preece would absolutely be a championship threat and contender. I think he's going to do a lot of great things next year if he goes back to Xfinity. I think Ryan does have a lot of talent, and he can get the best out of the equipment. And I've seen him do good in the Xfinity Series. He won a couple Xfinity Series races with Joe Gibbs Racing. We drove the 18 and 20 car, and I certainly think that Ryan Preece is going to do a very solid job next year if he gets a chance to run back in the Xfinity Series. But the other big question is, who are other candidates that could join the Haas factory team? Well, as mentioned today at the press conference, that Hailie Deegan has apparently had conversations with the Haas factory team and organization to potentially drive for them in 2025. Hailie Deegan currently does not have a ride at this moment because she obviously lost a ride in the middle portion of the season with AM Racing. There's been rumors and speculation that she could be going over in the NXT to make some select starts later this season, but there have been multiple reports starting to come out that she might be headed there next year. Now, Hailie Deegan, let's be real and honest, right? I don't think Hailie Deegan has set the world on fire when she's raced in the sport. She struggled in the truck series when she drove for Thor Sport and DGR, let's just be real and frank, and she wasn't that great with AM Racing, but we're kind of coming to find out that AM Racing isn't the fastest organization in the world. If she does get the chance and opportunity to drive for the Haas factory team next year, I think she will have some top 10s potentially, and I think she maybe could get an outside chance at a top 5, but I don't really expect her to set the world on fire. But if they surround her with people that are really good and know what they're doing, I certainly think that she could do a decent job. Another driver could be Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton's name has been linked to the Haas factory team for multiple people. He could also go to AM Racing. That could be potentially a possibility, but I think he could also stay in Cup and drive for Rick Ware. But I do think Harrison Burton would be a solid option for the Haas team. I think he'd be probably a really good driver for that organization going into next year. The other big question we have to ask is, who is the crew chief going to be for the 41? Could it be someone that's already in that 41 car like a Chad Johnson? That could certainly be a possibility, but my prediction is that Jonathan Toney, who is the current crew chief for the 00 car with Cole, will likely be the crew chief for Cole Custer in the Cup Series next year. That's my prediction right there. I think you're going to see Jonathan Toney work with Cole Custer next year. So with this signing happening, what happens with the rest of the silly season? Well, we already know that Riley Herbst most likely is not going back to the Haas factory team next year. We are expecting that Riley Herbst is going to be going over to 2311 Racing to drive the third 2311 racing car for 2025. We do know there's going to be a fourth 2311 racing car at some point. Corey Heim could drive part-time. We also are expecting that Mark Truex Jr. is going to make select starts in that car. Maybe if Carlos Gerbish wanted to come out of retirement, they could. There's also talk about, of course, front row. There's rumors that Sam Mayer and Zane Smith and Christian Eckes are the front runners for that third seat. I do think that it could end up being Sam Mayer or Zane Smith getting the ride. I think Sam is the favorite, but Zane would be a really good option. Trackhouse Racing is also expected to pick up one of the SHR charters going to next year, and Shane Van Gisbergen most likely is going to get the third seat next year. Shane's been doing a really good job in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year, and I certainly think has earned the right and opportunity to move up the Cup full-time with Trackhouse Racing. Then you've got Bubba Wallace, who is expected to sign a multi-year extension with 2311 Racing. Same with Daniel Suarez, is also expected to sign a multi-year contract with 2311 Trackhouse Racing. And then, of course, Kyle Busch, we know, is going to be back at RCR next year. And then you got Colleague Racing and Rick Ware and all those other organizations that are still trying to figure out what they're doing at this point for 2025. We also know that Connor Zilic is likely going to Junior Motorsports in the NASCAR Xfinity Series next year, as more silly scene dominants are expected to fall. We've got a lot of the Cup rights secured at this point. The Xfinity Series and Cup Series is going to be stacked, and I think a lot of silly season moves for the Xfinity Series are about to start getting hit, but we now know Cole Custer will be joining the Haas factory team in 2025. I'm excited for him, I think he's earned the right and opportunity to join this team for next year. So, that is going to be today's special breaking news report. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Links description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. How will you think Cole Custer is going to end up doing at the Haas factory team? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We got a lot of content dropping later today. We're going to have reactions to Cup Series qualifying a couple hours from now, and we're also going to have the Xfinity Series race review from Indianapolis, and we'll have an SVG video dropping after that as well. Then on Sunday, we're going to have the starting lineup video for the Brickyard 400, and then we're going to have the NASCAR race review from the Brickyard 400, and Monday we'll have a NASCAR news video, and then on Tuesday, most likely, you're going to see another silly season update. And remember, I'm going to have the 100 greatest NASCAR Cup Series drivers video dropping later this week as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.